I tried to tell y'all what was coming. People didn't want to listen to me. Last year, I said, yo, let's take in this W. All black fans need to celebrate the Cookouts victory together. Who cares who ended up with the money? What they did together should be applauded. Let's not take that for granted. I was the person during the last Canadian Big Brother season that said, hey, what this brother Herman's doing to try to keep all of these women on code, trying to keep them in play with what's going on, creating Savage 7 during his HOH reign to incorporate at the time who we thought was 5 black players with 2 white men to try to be inclusive. We saw how that backfired on him because no one would back him up. Now we are seeing what Big Brother truly looks like when production stops looking for Hermans. They stop looking for Xaviers. They stop looking for Kylans. They remove Marvins. We see what we have left. We have the remnants of a game that is back in the Stone Age. We were in the Golden Age during BB23, and some of us took that thing completely for granted and acted like what we were staring at wasn't a gift horse. It's bad enough we got a Trojan horse as host in that Canadian show. And that's why I held her accountable. Well, in this rant, ladies and gentlemen, I got a lot of people to hold accountable because a lot of people done messed up. See, what a lot of people aren't going to understand is, while everyone can admit now that, oh, we took BB23 for granted. Oh, we took Herman for granted. Oh, we took this for granted. I've been taken for granted the most because I've been the one telling y'all the truth unapologetically for years. But because some feelings got hurt along the way, people act as if the facts that I've been speaking aren't still true. So they ran to these white media organizations, these companies that just pander to you, they lie to you, because they figured it out. That's all you require is someone to lie to you to make you feel good. They lulled you into a false sense of superiority to set you up for the season we have now, where it looks as if the black woman somehow became the strongest target in the house. Literally, the only thing Taylor did was compete in a piercing stand comp that we all can agree was a waste of time. No one can truly pinpoint what makes her such a threat in comps, because she hasn't shown that. No one can pinpoint what makes her such an aggressive person, because she hasn't fought with anyone. But these narratives are easy to run away with because the easiest thing to do for a non-black HOH will always be to make sure their target is black. When you do that, the probability of you getting away with what you just done exponentially increases, coach. This is what I've been trying to let the culture understand for years. They said I was baiting. Well, now it's really hard for them to deny the truth because it's right in front of us. Ladies and gentlemen, I haven't been this disappointed in a season since the beginning of BB21. And I'm here to let you all know, if you're a pro-black fan of Big Brother, now might be the time to boycott this season for good. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the critically acclaimed, the unapologetically black Pop the Trunk podcast, now Patreon exclusively sponsored Hall of Fame. Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. I'm, of course, your humble host, Dave Smith, Pretty Boy Smitty, Protocol Paul, Pearl Game Ultra, Smith Dog Trail, The Rant God, Hotep Thanos, Throne Thanos, Metro Kaiba, the Pro-Black Prodigy, the Shadow Realm Shaman, the Pronoun Punisher, the No Sleep Assassin, he who cannot be canceled, the Apex Analyst, here to bring balance back to the 24th season of BB. All of the above on that ISAT test and ACT. You know what it is. And in this fourth rant of BB24, entitled The Anti-Black Armageddon, I'm unleashing all the Infinity Stones. I'm unleashing every Omega weapon on deck. And I'm finna set a trend here. I'm bringing balance to the atmosphere. You gotta understand, y'all. If we don't check this at the door right now and jump on code, 25 gonna be even worse. See, y'all not understanding. See, I gotta break this down for the culture, see. And here's another thing. Y'all saw how RHAP tried to do that Sister Dre after Survivor 42. If you're black and you're running to that platform to hear them pander to you some more, you're part of the problem. At a certain point, you gotta admit, they're part of the problem. Because I tell you one thing, behind closed doors, they're loving this season. They ain't gonna say it out loud to you. But they hated BB23 as well. Clearly because they hated X who won. You gotta connect the dots. Any person who spent more time bashing X to prop up Tiffany was trying to set black women down this path of now being bigger threats than black men entirely. Because Tiffany got all the credit for everything, remember? So when you got Joe Picciarelli putting a middle finger over Taylor's face, calling her Tiffany, what is that meant to do, y'all? It's meant to wake every non-black player up in the house that Taylor, aka Tiffany, needs to go now, not later. And see, you gotta rewind. Remember the premiere night. Remember what I pointed out when everyone else was dancing around it. How production purposely put all these people into different comps on purpose based off difficulty level. The HOH has one of the easier original comps. Monty had to go through the Hunger Games just to make it to round 2 to deal with the rigged comp for Daniel. You don't believe production went out of their way to make sure a black person couldn't be HOH because they didn't want all black people to survive this week? It's all connected. The reason why Monty was forbidden from being allowed to win HOH is the same reason why all of a sudden Taylor is the only person y'all can think of to backdoor. Even if it's bad for Daniel's game, and by proxy horrible for Nicole's game, because she's the one woman outside of Taylor, not included in Girls Girls. But even Nicole is willing to jump on that bandwagon for little old Paloma. They act like Paloma is 13 years old. And see, these are microaggressions as well, because they treat the black woman who's just as young, they treat her like she's 50. But then they treat Paloma, the Latino Greek girl, they treat her like she's completely innocent and she's 12. All these narratives are meant to help Paloma or Alyssa win that vote. But I don't want to get lost here. I want y'all to understand something with Daniel. We got to call him out early and often. This guy's full of crap. And there's a reason why I told y'all he was giving me sneaky anti-black vibes. Remember I kept saying that even though he wasn't willing to throw up Taylor initially? I can read stuff on people that no one else in this community can read off people. That's why they work so hard to make black women not want to support my content. Because I tell y'all this, if y'all spent twice the amount of time listening to me than y'all listen to these white creators, Big Brother don't even pull this shit on CBS this season. They'd be too scared. But see, they saw how divided we were, how easily we could be conquered because of feelings. Now those feelings have left us all looking soft because none of us have the platform we've allowed to build up to hold these people accountable with checks and balances. You don't think this all was part of their game too, in pandering to y'all? I refuse to do that because I knew in the future y'all would need me to stay consistent and stay strong and stay grounded in what I originally said. Because for better or worse, I at least have the confidence in you sisters that you'll catch up to my speed one day. And I'm aware some of y'all might be young. Y'all ain't gone through enough life experience yet to get it. But with that said, that's why I'm not hard on y'all right now. That's why I'm not hard on Taylor right now. But I tell you who I am going to be hard on, Monty and Terrance. But that can wait. We got to get in Daniel's ass. Understand. From the beginning of this week, this man had a problem with Indy. Did you notice in tonight's episode, he never even mentioned having an issue with her? Red flag. Because them not even showing the casual audience Indy could be playing bad socially, but them going out of their way to show Taylor thirsting over Monty when we already know Monty will betray her, I'll get there. It's production once again, giving Indy special treatment they don't give to anybody black. Are you seeing why she was selected? She's a gimmick pick. It's all coming back to my prediction. It's all connected. I'm telling y'all, I'm on some Dr. Manhattan type shit right now. The way I'm seeing the stuff pop off in front of me. And I can just, Clock everything. This is why these entities are terrified of me. They don't know how I do this. These people have connections with people at CBS, and they know less than I do. I'd be threatened by me too. I'm just going to keep it a bean. But with that said, Coach, this guy Daniel had all the incentive in the world to throw up Indy next to Michael. The reason why Indy didn't get thrown up is because Daniel was always hiding the anti-blackness within. I told you all I saw it coming from a mile away, because anybody on night one who can tell the world, hold on, let me cut this fan off, man. I don't know if that fan is messing up the mic, so I'm just going to cut it off. All right, it's getting hot in here, but it was going to get hot anyway because I'm going in. But this guy Daniel, on night one, he's telling the whole world, oh, I love everything about Terrance. I love the fact he's older, in his 40s. I'm in my mid-30s. Nicole is my number one. She's in her 40s. She speaks highly of him. Now, let's do simple mathematics. If Terrance is close to Nicole, that means Terrance is more so on Daniel's side of the house than he will ever be on the women's side, right? So why is Terrance nominated? Because he's black. Think about it. Turner is doing nothing. He contributes nothing to the house. He has no relationship with anyone except maybe Joe Picciarelli so far. But Turner gets a free week, but Terrance doesn't. If you really pay attention, the Terrance pawn decision was always to leave the door ajar to backdoor someone else black to guarantee a black first boot. Because not until Michael won veto did you hear anyone in that house speak highly of Terrance again. Until Michael won the veto, before he won the veto, all you heard was everyone in the house say, Terrance acts completely different on the block. They were already starting with the microaggressions on him. Please hit that like button. Thank you for reminding them of that shoot. But y'all need to understand that. See, Terrance would have went home over Michael. Because Michael now is in this Mamba alliance with Monty, with Kyle, with Paloma, with Alyssa, with Ameerah. So Michael, he's cool with Brittany. He's cool with Nicole. He's also cool pretty much with half of girls. And he's cool with two of the strongest men in the house that happen to be have-nots next to him. Michael was always going to stay over Terrance, y'all. So it was set up for Terrance to be the accidental eviction. Oops, if Nam stayed the same. But then the minute Michael wins veto, Daniel can make up for all of this shit. Because it's a misplay completely, because all of this is bad for Daniel's game. He just doesn't realize it. Because what he should be doing is trying to set himself and Nicole up for future weeks. But all you see from Daniel is a selfish, egomaniacal, narcissistic view of both of their games. What's better for him, he thinks is best for Nicole too. That's false. What's better for Nicole is better for Daniel though. Because Taylor is a shield for Daniel and Nicole if they would have never backdoored her. But we'll get there. So understand. The whole alibi behind putting up Terrance, he doesn't talk much game with me. How much game you expect him to talk with you? The man's in his 40s. Indy don't talk no game to none of y'all. Matter of fact, Indy talks to you less than Terrance and Michael do combined. You still let her skate by this entire week. That's quite convenient. I have to ask the question, is production, are they protecting Indy? I think so. But follow me here. So Michael wins veto. Now a mad dash is created of players not knowing who's going to replace Michael. Based off the feeds, I can tell you all, Ameerah shined very well during the veto comp. Shined so well, it should have raised her threat level for a lot of men who thought she was weak. But notice, because she's light-skinned, because she has a white parent, nobody labels Ameerah strong. Only Taylor. You got to pay attention to these microaggressions. And this is why I tell black women, stop always saying you're a strong black woman, because eventually they will replace that phrase with strong player. They'll take what was supposed to be a compliment, a positive connotation, and turn it into pure negativity simply because you black while doing it. And when you have the media who went out of their way to force the whole Tiffany's the best ever down everyone's throats, you asked white players to walk into this house, identify who's the Tiffany, and go straight for the jugular anyway. This is why I said give Xavier the credit he's due. But once again, people didn't want to do that. So we fast forward to where we are current day, right? Michael taking himself off. He won veto. Daniel, he's sweating bullets. He knows he's created an enemy, didn't get him out. He also could have another enemy in Terrance, but he views Terrance as someone less likely to win an HOH, and that's why Daniel wants Terrance to stay now. That's the truth there. Because if he truly cared about Terrance, he never risked him by putting him on the block in the first place. He just throws up Indy, who he has no relationship with. But he wants to appease all these white women who are working with Indy. And see, that's the thing that pisses me off. Because Ameerah will act like she has the influence of all the women. Daniel never connects the dot. There's a women's alliance. Daniel appears to want to work with the strong men, but I just take that as you're scared and you don't want to make any more enemies after Michael, so you're going to kowtow to them too. But once again, Indy is still she is still the selection that makes the most sense for Daniel's game. Because at the end of the day, if Daniel and Nicole have a working relationship in principle with the Palomas, with the Alyssas, with the Ameerahs, they need Indy gone. That way girls disbands. That way those women are forced to play more individually. By letting Indy skate by another week, believing she doesn't talk game with anyone, all you're doing is allowing the Girls Alliance to turn on you, probably turn on Monty within Mamba, because I fully believe that Girls Alliance is going to take Michael and Kyle and probably Picciarelli as far as they can, because those are three white men they're comfortable with. Turner, no one's really comfortable with him, including Indy. So I don't think Turner is going to make it as far as those other three white men. And see, this brings me to Monty. Whew, what an idiot. See, from a black male perspective, I don't see the motivation for us to keep watching this season because Monty is a coon. See, if Monty and Terrance would have stood tall and what they saw was happening to Taylor was happening anyway, and they just was like, all right, can't do nothing about it. That's one thing. But when you are contributing and stumping out a black woman in the wrestling room, knowing your ass is black, that's when everyone black got a, whoa, I see why you were selected for this cast too. And see, what really beckons the question when it comes to a guy like Monty, and we'll get into the things he did wrong, don't worry. But what really beckons the question with a guy like this is, you're supposed to represent a black fraternity. Ladies and gentlemen, I actually went out of my way to go on Google search and look this up. I looked up, what is the purpose of black fraternities? Okay? This is the definition I got. To educate and uplift the black community with racial inequities. Monty, all you did this season so far is create more racial inequity, and you managed to set the black community back further. Everything your gameplay is about diametrically opposes what your fraternity is about. But you think people will give you the benefit of the doubt when you come out the house? Huh? Now let's get into what Monty did wrong, because he did a lot now. This guy is an idiot. He's one of them cats, you know he's going to abandon you when things get real because of how quickly he was willing to abandon Taylor. And see, Nicole, Joseph, Monty, Terrance, and Daniel all need Taylor. Now, Daniel, I could see why he thinks he don't need her, because he ain't black. He's not a minority. But the other group, the other four that I named, for them to not realize they need her, it is a level of egotistical I've never seen before, coming off of a cookout victory. And it's almost as if Monty wants the world to believe, he wants the house to believe, he's such an acceptable Negro because he's willing to abandon one. This guy was told pertinent information from Taylor. She approached him with the best of intentions from my standpoint, and she told him the truth. She said, You know Paloma is scheming against the men and she wants to target men. This has already been proven on social media with hella receipts. Paloma did say these things to Taylor early on in the game. If it wasn't night 1, it was night 2. Taylor tries to establish a connection with a black man by telling him the truth about what's going on. Monty decides this black woman can't be telling me the truth. Instead of depositing that what she told him about Paloma in his brain and reassessing Paloma's game with that information, what does Monty do? He becomes a rat no different than Jasmine and Ameerah. He runs right up to the non-black girl trying to prove himself to her. Now, mind you, they're in this Mamba alliance now, so I don't even know why he felt like he had to prove himself to her. You're already lying to her, bro. He runs to her. He tells her what Taylor said. Paloma uses the white girl crying technique. Now, Monty feels bad because he knows. Well, it's not even that he knows because he's really clueless, honestly. The guy, he believes Taylor is lying to him to manipulate him into being pro-black. When the truth is she was telling you the truth to wake your coon ass up to being pro-black. You're so damn Afro-Latino. You care so much about the Puerto Rican part of you. And see, this is the problem. When you have a Puerto Rican mother, do you really respect black women? That's the thing. But that's for another day, I guess. But you got to understand, Taylor told him factual information about Paloma and what Paloma was planning to do. And it's a women's alliance that everyone pretty much knows exists but acts like it doesn't. But okay, once again, because they're non-black, we're not going to jump to conclusions about them like we do Taylor. You see how toxic this is. So he runs to Paloma. He finds out, well, Paloma tells him that's a lie because that's all she can say because it was the truth. And because you have all these women already against Taylor, Monty now is forced to believe Paloma's lie, and everyone feels so bad for Paloma. And this is what turns Nicole on Taylor, and see, Nicole was the only woman left that had Taylor's back remotely. That's why what Monty did buried Taylor's game for good. And that's why what Monty did is unforgivable because he didn't have to do it. Now this guy is running with narratives. Oh, Jasmine came up to me and she said, and she said Taylor said something bad about her. Blah, 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 blah. And like, no. He said Taylor said to Jasmine that Monty reminded her of an ex-boyfriend and she found him to be disgusting or something like that. Now, here's the thing, Monty. If all these women hate Taylor so much, why would Taylor confide that type of information in them? And here's another thing, Monty. If you were so quick to take that information from Taylor and run to the non-white and to the white girl, why couldn't you take that information from Jasmine and run to Taylor and find out what the truth is there? Why are you so quick to snitch on the black woman when she tells you information in private, but then when someone else tells you information in private about the black woman, you don't show any consistency? See, that shows us you're full of shit. All that talk about, oh, I'm Afro-Latino. I'm not finna be forced to be loyal to a black woman just to please black fans. There's more to me than that. I want this game to have more love in it. Motherfucker, you have shown Taylor no love all season. What is you talking about? I want this game to have more love, massa. Would it be okay if one black person didn't stay? Looking ass. You look like a goof troop goofball right now. And honestly, as a black man who covers this show, you have ruined all reason for anyone black to keep watching because all of us can see you're a train wreck waiting to happen. All of us can see Terrance is screwed beyond belief because of all the shit he's got to partake in this week just to stick around. Terrance has already went out of his way to call Taylor a bitch. Taylor and Monty have already said that Taylor is perpetuating negative black stereotypes that is harming their games by proxy. So now Terrance and Monty have jumped in on the stumping in the wrestling room. At least with Terrance, you could argue he's on the block next to her. It's him or her. He's 47. He's got a wife. He's got kids. He's got to do whatever it takes, yo. To that extent, okay, I'm willing to give him a bit of a pass. With Monty, no excuses, bruh. Even if you were nervous about being backdoored yourself, you wouldn't have to go to Paloma with that. And your justification and your excuses for why you sold this black woman out And for you to kowtow to all these non-black people and make it seem like they'll respect you more for being a coon. Have you learned nothing from Josh from BB Can? You get hit with negative karma when you do shit like this, man. When you have people that want to see you fail, it always alters what you do in life, bro. And I'm not even calling you bro because you a brother to me. You Latino from this point further, bro. You just got a tan. Ain't nothing in you ismed out. And honestly, I don't know how your fraternity can claim you after this, because you're showing the entire world that your entire set might be a bunch of grifters. Because you forgot about your frat the minute you started implementing gameplay. And see, I gotta assume someone who's in a frat, someone who's a personal trainer, already got money. So I don't really see where the desperation sets in to make a black man play like this. And when you know on night one production screwed you the most, for you to make sure your number one ally that you trust the most is some white guy who is laughing it on up with Joe Picciarelli, as soon as they find out Taylor's going to get backdoored, the first thing they say is, this is our season. What you think they mean by that, Monty? They mean one Negro gone, two more to go. But your dumb ass think because you're in this Mamba alliance, you can be Kobe Bryant? Only thing similar to you and Kobe is y'all both like non-black women. Let's keep it a bean right now in these streets. Somebody got to check this fool. Somebody got to do it. He looks like a goofball. As an Afro-Latino man. You think these non-black folks see Afro-Latino when they look at your ass? I don't know about y'all, but there ain't that many Latino men that's 6'4", 240. Built like steel. Ain't that many. That's the black in you that got you to that level, bruh. The black in you is what got you all your accomplishments in life, but it seemed like the Latin version of you is the one telling you to be a bitch. Well, if that's the case, why didn't you go ahead and pledge a Latin fraternity then? Oh, that's right. You see my point here? Grifter. But these are the men that are going to be picked from now on, y'all, because we did not appreciate Xavier when he was cooking. And when I say we, I don't mean us. I mean as a whole. We didn't appreciate him. As a black community, we didn't appreciate him enough. People were mad about that comment, this comment, that comment. It's Big Brother. Someone is going to say something you don't agree with. But for me to see Taylor tell a black man the truth and have that be spun as a reason why he don't like her, it gave me PTSD to my YouTube career. I tell people the truth all the time and they use that as a reason to not like me. And then they run to people who lie to them. And I'm like, you prefer that? It's confusing to me. So when I see what's happening to Taylor, I go, damn, I can relate so much. Because no one understands you, they know you're brilliant because of what you represent. They're jealous of the fact they can't achieve what you have already. It makes them not want to let you or help you achieve anything on their watch. That's why Taylor's being backdoored this week. They're punishing her for not being a lame her whole life. They're punishing her for being a success her whole life. They're punishing her for not getting along with the other women. And Nicole, I'm so confused by you. You went from speaking highly of Taylor, but as soon as it came down to Paloma, you flipped a switch. Do you have a crush on Paloma? It's weird. And if they are willing to treat Taylor like that, and they categorize you, Nicole, as the only other boy's girl on the cast, don't you expect them to do it to you later? Why does no one see what's happening and go, oh, I could have easily been that person myself. Let me stop this. Doesn't even cross the mind. Because the mob mentality of betas infects the mind. And when you have all this paranoia, you have all these people who are living out their dreams, you got these super fans who are scared to be pre-jury boots, People just go for the easiest decision imaginable. And that's why that black woman, with no other black woman on this cast, became such a big target, even though she has done nothing to be categorized as one. Let's really keep it a bean. She hasn't done nothing in comps to be called strong. She hasn't done nothing socially to be called aggressive. But she has been called everything under the moon simply because of Dressgate. And that's another thing I want to break down. While I am willing to admit that Taylor made a mistake by wearing her finale dress, by admitting it was meant for finale night, I think certain things you should just not even do all that, right? But with that said, you got to understand the women around her egg her on. They make it seem as if, oh, we love this part about you. Keep it coming. Then when she's not around, they use that as justification to bash her more. Oh, look how cocky she is. She wears dresses around us. Do you want her naked? I'm confused, coach. But with that said, you got to understand, Jasmine is making up lies about Taylor, saying that she's fat now, when in reality, all Taylor said was, hey, after I wear a dress, y'all can feel free to wear it. And Jasmine mentioned how she's not her size. Jasmine went out of her way to fat shame herself, but that has been regurgitated as Taylor fat shamed her. Anything people can do to try to sweep under the rug the anti-black strategy is what they're going to cling to, because they are praying the edit takes these other narratives and puts them on wax, not the truth. That's why I was watching this episode tonight very attentively to see how they was going to craft this. They've already begun to make it seem like Taylor is a problem on her own, as if it's no systemic toxic environment Taylor was thrown into. They're making Taylor seem as if she is thirsty for Monty, like, ooh. That way when Monty decides to turn on her after telling her the truth to Paloma, then it sets up black women to be completely blindsided from a casual standpoint. See, if you've been following this channel, you're not going to be blindsided by anything. But I'd argue the people who took a break from this channel for a year during BB23 and came back this season, they're completely out of the loop to Productions games that I've exposed for the last 6 months. Even during Celebrity Big Brother US Season 3, I exposed how they clearly picked Todrick because Todrick was going to push for Misha to win. Production clearly pushed Josh and Betty because they were pushing for Kevin to win. But why does it seem like when someone black is an outcast, they're never given time or benefit of the doubt to reconvene or recalibrate or work their way into people's graces? How many white nerd archetypes like Ian, like Steve, get 5-6 weeks to get to know people, and all of a sudden, oh, you're cool now. You had 6 weeks off. Now we'll let you beat us. Even Kevin, during the last season of Canada, horrible social player the first few weeks of the game, but because he wasn't black, he was never taken out. We need to admit that there's a systemic issue here where once black people reach a deficit, there is no way for them to come back in the game. And that is a systemic problem this game has that no other game really has. Because I've seen black players on Survivor come back from a low moment. I've seen it before. We saw it with Dre and Marianne just recently. But in Big Brother, a game where you are locked in a house, a game where people can be jealous of you because of the clothes you have, the makeup you have. I'm talking about just women in this sense, but that's why women alliances don't work. And people have been waiting 2+ decades for a women's alliance to control the game, just for us to get one and for them to ruin the season in 4 days. Was it worth it? See, I'm all about the blame game, the accountability game, but at a certain point, we need to admit that certain smaller groups within the larger black group made this all possible. Because they refused to see who their real enemy was, just because their enemy was pro-Tiffany for a few months. We got to get out of that identity politics mindset, and we got to realize these people will be Hillary Clinton with a hot sauce bottle at a moment's notice to fool us. Am I lying? I'm telling y'all the truth. You got to recognize who is Hillary with the hot sauce, though. Because if I pointed out, oh, you're just hating on them. So to a certain degree, I don't even want to mention these folks. Because I already know what it is. But with that said, if I don't keep these talking points going, people going to act like I never said them, and that just allows the real culprit to keep skating by. So no matter how you shake this, a lot of people need to be held accountable here. But we got our own housekeeping we need to do in the black community. That's why if you want to boycott this season, I do not blame you whatsoever. In fact, my advice would be to boycott this trash. Because this is worse than BB21 to me. It's worse. Because coming off of BB23, they have less of an excuse to be this heavy-handed with the anti-blackness. And let's be real here. Joe Picciarelli wanted Taylor to be in that backstage pass group. He said, girl in the blue dress. If you really go back, he was talking about Taylor. She was the only one with a real dress on. It's one thing to have a shirt and a skirt. It's one thing to have a legit dress. Taylor was the only one with a real dress on. He was talking about her, but he didn't want to get labeled anti-black, so he allowed it to be Brittany. Now look at Joe Picciarelli. He's the main one with something to gain and getting rid of Tiffany. Well, I called her Tiffany on accident because he called her that. To get rid of Taylor himself. So what you got to understand is, ladies and gentlemen, this production team rigged this week to be this way. They don't have any leeway to play the ignorant card. They rigged the first week HOH to go to someone non-black based off the comps. They didn't replace Marvin with a black man. They made sure there were 5 white men on this cast who would likely do what the white women wanted. This gave white women control of the social game in ways that we haven't seen in a long time, which opened up a women's alliance. And now the one woman of color that could relate to Taylor somewhat has reason to not rock with her because she may or may not have the hots for Paloma. No matter how you shake it, coach, this is a masterclass on production's end, and I hate to admit it. But this is why this rant is called the anti-black Armageddon. This is the end of times, y'all. This is a battle of good versus evil. And good ain't winning this season. And what's worse about it is that everyone in the house is participating in bashing Taylor at this point. No one's safe. Everyone's like, oh, well, Michael and Brittany, F all that. Michael and Brittany, if either one of them win this season, they ain't no different from Andy Herron. They benefited from racism too. Whoever wins this season benefited from a racist week 1, so they benefited from racism. There's no way to escape that criticism. But all of these white media gonna act like, well, no, they had no control. Shut up. Indy should have touched the block over Terrance. The minute Indy did not touch the block over Terrance, I knew what was up. Y'all seen my community post. I said, something don't sit right with me with this. Terrance has done nothing. In fact, Terrance was playing perfect. For his archetype, Terrance was playing perfect up until he got nominated. Now he's nominated. Now he can't play the cool, smooth cat no more. Because now his game's in trouble. He's aware of the pressure of having to come back to Chicago, ride the CTA as a first boot, have niggas clowning him. You got to understand, man. See, for a lot of these white players, they go back to their normal lives. They'll be all right. They'll have more opportunities. They'll get picked for wipeout. Huh? When it comes to these black folk, this is the coup de grace. This is the final destination. What you do here will impact what you do next. In a season like this, I am in fear of is going to 100% ruin the chances of getting a Swaley in the future because every black woman who plays after Taylor will suspect production picking coons, so I might as well not be cool with black men. It's almost as if production is trying to utilize Taylor as a plot device so for future seasons, black women become the anti-black players over the black men. It's constant divide and conquer tactics. But that's why we need to show some solidarity. We need to jump on code together, and we need to say fuck this season. I'm prepared to do it if y'all are. I'm being honest with you. I would love to keep fighting the good fight, but when Terrance is calling his sister a B-word, when she's just a victim of the same coward-ass Daniel tactics as anyone else is, I see the writing on the wall. When Monty is out here acting like he's a victim because he's mixed with Puerto Rican, when Daniel goes out of his way to tell him to his face he thought a cookout too was brewing, which exposed the fact that Daniel threw up Terrance as a pawn to try to read the black players easier. But once again, Monty doesn't check anyone for any of these thoughts because he's trying so hard to prove he's a big teddy bear. But once Taylor is gone, and once she leaves through the back door, it sets a precedent where if you got to get a big target out, you backdoor them. So now, Monty, just like I said with DX, when he let Christian, well, he actually backdoored Christian, but same thing I said to DX applies to you. You allow this sister to get backdoored, it's just going to be your fate. And honestly, I don't care or hate you anywhere near enough to keep watching this shit show to see you get your just desserts. You have ruined the enjoyability factor for a lot of black men. And what's the most confusing is you should be aware of the Cookout's legacy enough to at least be willing to fall on your sword. I'm not saying lose for Taylor. I'm saying we just got a black winner. You're not winning this season anyway. So at least don't disrespect your family, disrespect your frat, disrespect black men, disrespect black women in the process of just trying to mingle with a whole bunch of anti-black shit anyway. And this is why production looks for people who are mixed in a nutshell. It's because they know no matter what, they're going to be conflicted. We saw it during Canadian Big Brother. We're seeing it now. If both of your parents are not black, you're going to have a different view on the world, you're going to have a different hunger, and you're going to have a different killer instinct. What I'm noticing is that Monty is a tether. Terrance, by being thrown up on the block, he's in the Hunger Games. He's just trying to survive. He's a survivalist at this point. That's turning him into the worst version of himself. And who does this all benefit? Production. The fans who hated BB23, the fans who hated the Cookout, they're loving every second of this. But this is why it's important for all black fans to boycott at the same time. Understand, there's a reason BB22 became All-Stars. It wasn't just because of COVID pushed it back until the fall. That ain't just the reason. It's because BB21's ratings were garbage because black fans walked away from that trash. Don't believe the lies, y'all. BB23 had great ratings despite people saying it was so boring and despite black people dominating. You know why? Because you had other archetypes you rarely got to see before. You had DX. So DX brought some fans. Now, it seems like his fans are fickle now, but that's neither here nor there. But my point is, we can easily turn this shit show into a no-show once we boycott it. And now with black women ready to pull the plug, the majority of our numbers are ready to do some shit. And I've always said, if black women are ready to hold this entire company accountable, oh shit, everybody black can. Because then we all have everybody willing to admit there's a problem at the same time. I'm not going to be the selfish black guy saying, shoot, we still got 2 black men representing us. Y'all on y'all own. And I'm going to be honest, ladies, I do kind of feel like if roles were reversed, it would be very hard for us black men to convince y'all to boycott when there are 2 black women left. But I'm willing to let that go for the bigger picture. The bigger picture is what matters the most. And people can say whatever they want to say. But it truly hurts to see that clip of Taylor crying. To see a woman that rarely shows emotion like that, who did everything she could to work herself into the good graces of the same men who all want her gone. And another thing that makes no sense. I can understand why women will want Taylor gone. But if you're Monty, ask yourself, why do all these guys want Taylor gone? If any time these women win an HOH, they'll go after Taylor, how is that bad for us men? Why every time, I gotta mention this too. Why every time there's someone hated by the house and they're non-black, there's always an HOH that week that can see the value in keeping them around. I'm not taking him out. Remember young Marty? Remember Marty when it came to Lessica? He let her stick around for ages because he knew someone would get her out over him. Why can't Daniel see the value in Taylor in a similar fashion? Okay, we might not be the closest of allies, but you're an enemy of a group of people I can't necessarily target, but you can. Literally, Daniel, how do you expect to get them white women out? You think Nicole gonna do it? Oh, so she could be treated like Taylor a week after that? You needed Taylor to fire that shot. And you needed Indy gone to scatter all those players. Because here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Brittany and Michael, they got something going. And they also want to have a side deal with Nicole and Daniel. You don't think all four of those players benefit from Taylor staying? They do. Even when Michael was nominated tonight, Taylor was the main one consoling him in his worst moment. Taylor is good for half that house. But the problem is this production team set her up to fail by picking 5 white men and basically 6 white women. They picked 11 white people for a cast that's only 16 people. They basically gave them 75% of the cast while giving black people less than 25% with only 3. And if one goes home week 1, that means black people now only have 2 out of a 15 chance. How did we go from 6 people representing us with the cookout to only 3? And how does this house get to act like they thought a cookout 2.0 was coming when we no longer have the 6 representatives? Is the A team the A team when they lose half their members? It's a different team. Are the Lakers if they don't have a starting 5? Then they're not the Lakers. But anybody black, it don't matter if your numbers are less or more, you're automatically the best version of blacks we've ever seen. We constantly are held to high standards based off the greatness of our people, where white people are held to the lowest common denominator and frequency level imaginable, so they can always play with house money and feel no pressure. Then they get to outnumber us like they did in the Stone Age. That's how you know we're back in the Stone Age. Just so they can be racist with impunity. And now, because the black woman, once again, remember what Karen Scott said. She said, Herman and Moose, the way they dance is bullying. This black woman's being bullied for real. We don't see no think pieces being written now, do we? Exposed. That's my problem. People only want to discuss bullying when they feel like black people are in the power position. When a white person's in the power position, it's expected, so they don't label it bullying. They label it, get better at the game, bro, get good. I'm here to tell y'all what's uncomfortable. Because even if we do boycott, we got to learn from our mistakes. And at the end of the day, I would love nothing more than for this season to flame out and burn. Because everything I have seen from this production team in the edit of the second episode is their team Paloma and Alyssa. Hell, if you go on BMX right now, they got king crowns, queen crowns on Paloma and Alyssa while they're playing anti-black. If that don't show you BMX is anti-black, I don't know what else will. Go to their website for a second and look what they got over there. They got Paloma and Alyssa right next to the BMX logo. When have you ever seen them just support when have you seen them support any player that hard in 4 days? And you mean to tell me y'all support 2 anti-black women that hard in 2 days? I'm telling y'all, man, we're surrounded by anti-black folks. I've just been the one person who've noticed who they are this whole time. I never had no rose-tinted glasses with these folk. That's why they don't invite me to certain things. But I never would have accepted the invite anyway, so we could break even on that shit. But with that said, we got to keep it real and admit some of us have been led astray by them. And the same way people are quick to come to my channel and tell me when I'm wrong, quick to try to blast me with all this criticism, I need to see that energy being thrown at all these other folks, because they're the ones responsible for BB24 being the way it is. It ain't me. Shit, I wanted us to bask in the glory of 23. I wanted us to. People were mad at me for being happy about the season. It was insane. Well, now look where we are, y'all. And see, for a lot of black fans to go from that high of BB23 to be forced to come back down, it's almost like winning the lottery and then being told you're bankrupt. It's a penthouse to the outhouse feeling no one can explain. Now here's the thing. White folks went through 20 years of penthouse to a few months of outhouse. Black folks went from 20 years of outhouse to a few months of penthouse. Can nobody tell us how to feel about shit? And that's why people are trying to pander, because they know if we all boycott, that impacts their likes, their views, their subscriptions. That's why it's important for me to say, if y'all trying to boycott, y'all better boycott all these white media members at the same time. I'm talking blackout. All of them got to know how loud our voice is together. Otherwise, they just going to keep pandering and placating, hoping to divide and conquer in the future. They're not going to learn their lesson either. And mark my words, whoever wins this season, they're going to prop up as a great player. It's coming. They're not going to remember week 1 when Taylor was done dirty, because deep down they like what they're watching. They're going to act like whoever wins 12 weeks from now is the best thing since sliced bread. That's what they're going to do. And I'm not going to be shocked by it, because I know who these people are. But it's time for y'all to realize it. Now I want to answer y'all questions, because I want to hear from the culture. I want to hear their thoughts on this game. There's so many things Monty took part in. To provide some type of context, we can watch at least one video together, but before we get into Monty any deeper, I do want to give some spotlight to Xavier, and I want to give some spotlight to the double standards exposed on Reddit. So first, let's get into Xavier's take on all of this, y'all. Now, read this with me, y'all, and I'll give my take on it. Salute to Xavier, because it's only right that the true king of Big Brother gives his perspective on this. And see, he's such a gracious king. He was taken for granted, and he still shows up like Batman with the bat wing. Now, it reads, and I quote, "The treatment of Taylor and BB24 is a prime example of why the cookout was formed. Members of the black community, especially black women, and other people of color stand no chance in Big Brother house due to the perpetuation of microaggressions and unconscious biases which plague our society." Woo, okay, talk that stuff. "I acknowledge my shortcomings during my time on Big Brother and can't help but feel partially responsible for some of the reprehensible behavior I see being exhibited from current house guests who consider me one of their favorites." Ooh, he's taking a shot at Monty right now. Pay attention. Excuse me. "For that, I'd like to apologize for being an accessory to an ongoing issue. I've tried to learn from my conduct and educate myself so that I can stand beside those who need my support, as I attempt to do for Taylor now. In the future, I hope it doesn't take a cookout for black house guests or any person of color to finally escape the feeling of being ostracized within the Big Brother house for simply existing. Change is a must. Until then, I know my fellow Michigander will keep her head high and stand tall like the queen that she is." Now, here's the thing. I couldn't agree more with what Xavier said, but let's not lose track of what's really the problem, okay? The real problem of this season is the fact that production did not have the same type of tender loving care with deciding on this cast, with picking the comps to determine the first HOH of this cast. They decided to not go with teams this time around, when if they went with teams, it definitely would have forced other players to be more inclusive to Taylor naturally. So they did Taylor a disservice with the teams twist. So you got to understand, all these things they did from a market research standpoint, they was like, okay, what can we scrap from 23 that worked that's likely to lead to the outcome we truly want? Teams twist, get rid of that. Let's let them be racist on day one. The one thing that everyone, and see, remember, the team's twist was also in BB Can 9, where another black winner was crowned. So you notice the twists that actually are positive don't come back. The twists that are fucking garbage come back all the time somehow. You got to pay attention. Next, I want to break down this post from a Reddit user. I don't know if this was Daniel Reyes, but I do appreciate what they had to say because a lot of it I agree with. Let's read this. Follow me. The issue in Big Brother is that black women, especially dark-skinned women, and heck, other people of colors, have consistently not been given the same chances with house guests as white people. If you are not acting sunny and bubbly, people will call you aggressive and explosive. If you are shy and introverted, people won't care to get to know you. It's day 3 and house guests are saying it's too late to even try with Taylor now that she is opening up more. Kevin Jacobs was given over a month to fit in. Paul Beta-Hamian in his first season was given a chance after being isolated for a bit, and there are many more examples of this. Many of these same people talking about Taylor were very willing to give Michael a chance. There it is. There it is. You can be an outcast, talk no game with anyone, be socially awkward. Taylor was never socially awkward, but she made them feel inferior. So it's easy to pick up Michael from a low moment because they can see someone they can control. They see weakness. When it comes to Taylor being alone, they pounce because this is our only chance to have her this week. You see that? It's like the hyena with Scar in Lion King. Same exact philosophy. Some people only can jump you in numbers because 1v1 they never want the smoke. And that's everyone in this community when it comes to me. Huh? But let's continue. Alyssa went up to Michael and literally had to pull responses out of him. Paloma hadn't even had a 1v1 convo with Michael before deciding to pull him into Mamba's alliance. I'm not saying anyone is racist yet, but it's suspicious and there's definitely a lot of bias going around. And see, I'll piggyback on that. I love that post. I'll piggyback on that. At the end of the day, Coach, no one has given Taylor a chance at an alliance yet. No one has made her feel like a human being in that house. And even the players who clearly can see she's a shield for them because everyone wants her out, they're so scared about someone winning HOH next week and them not targeting Taylor, which turns them into a target, not realizing anyone next to Taylor goes home anyway. So even if your fear is, if I don't get rid of Taylor, someone might come for me and Taylor, you still would stay over Taylor, and it allows you to suss out and smoke out your real enemy, because if they're willing to target you out of their hate for this woman, then clearly it's more personal than strategic, because they shouldn't expect you to use your HOH to please them. But once again, it's so easy for someone non-black to get the concept of targeting someone black to blend back in after. And why is that concept so popular among superfans specifically? It's because a superfan knows that white folks have had 20 years in the penthouse. A superfan knows black folks have had 20 years in the outhouse. A superfan knows a black person's easy to target if all else fails to save their game because they've seen 23 straight years of source material. But once again, BB23 was so racist, guys, because folks knew what the game was and wouldn't allow you to put them in that position. It's boring because of that. Well, is this entertaining? I don't think this is entertaining either. I think some white folks are happy black folks are walking away from the show because deep down they don't want us watching their show. They hated everything BB23 stood for. But this is why, in the future, when we have black seasons, and they come few and far between, we can't afford to care about individual personal agendas. We have to be united in our support for every member. We have to be united. Because when we take part in bashing our own legends, we just give white folks the authority to make sure they don't have to cast another one. Man, we talking that real shit here. All right, now we'll get into a clip of Monty, because I want to provide some source material myself to his own cooning. This guy's a clown. I don't defend him anymore. Listen, man. The guy started off in an inferno, and ever since, he's just been turning the temperature up on himself. He's so stupid. But I just want y'all to listen to this conversation, and y'all tell me how much of a goofy this guy sounds. Here we go.
One of my struggles, literally, since considering her, and hearing your perspective would be nice, but, like, I don't like the look of I have two black people at the end of my week on the block. We know what's the situation. I don't know what's going to air and all that, and that's fine. That's part of the gig. But in that same aspect, I have to go, I can't think about that. Like, I can't. It happened the way it did, and it's pressure if I really think about it, because I don't want to be considered that person. I'm not that person, all that things. But, like, having reasons behind it, I just hope it's shown validly. Our experience, you getting.
Hold on, let me translate this for y'all. In other words, he hopes the anti-black reasoning behind making Terrance a pawn when that was unnecessary, the anti-black thought process behind throwing up Taylor over Indy when Indy is the better move, he's creating the narrative that he hopes that the edit backs up his false reasonings for making sure two black people on the block come Thursday, juxtaposed to the real reasoning in which he had no real reason. This shows he's cognizant of what he's doing while doing it, and it shows Monty is an idiot for allowing him to keep doing it. But once again, Monty thinks because he's Afro-Latino, there's nothing wrong with what he's looking at. And I'm sure the Latino part of him made him want to get in so good with Paloma. It's all connected, but once again, let's continue.
I do me finding out. Like,
fair use.
Stuff, but whatever, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
And it's like, we have to deal with our story in here. And that is the beauty of the show, not knowing the outside world, you know?
Very good
but we know the truth. And moving forward, we're all going to, like, you know, look out for each other and, like, build different stories and keep moving forward. So, just so you know, that has been a struggle, because I do care because you're black, too. And it's like, dude, it's not something that I'm proud of, that at the end of my week, there's two black people on the block. Like,
hold on, wait. You decided on Terrance being a nom, though. How does someone get to be as anti-black as possible, then go, I hope they don't label me a bad guy for having two black people on the block, literally the first week after the cookout won? I hope they don't connect the dots that I'm problematic. There's 5 white men in this house. You chose to beef with the gay one. Let's keep it real quick. Please explain to me how someone beefing with a gay white man would pick out Terrance as the pawn. If you know all these women are united against Taylor, wouldn't a woman be the perfect pawn? A non-black woman, for that matter. Oh, well, that goes against what production tried to rig for it to happen. So you got to understand, production 1000% talked this man into using Terrance as a pawn when he was going to use Indy. The proof is in the pudding. Take it to the bank. I'm telling y'all what it is. Because he can't stand Indy. Can't stand her. He claims to love Terrance. Claims to love Taylor. Claims to love Monty. But Indy, the one he doesn't like, he shows the most love to. They think we're stupid. I told you she was a plot device. But let's listen to the rest of this bullshit.
I just hoping for the best as far as, like, storytelling, but we have to do what we have to do to move forward in this game.
And I also thought about that for you too, because I was like, dang, you know, the aesthetics of it from the surface level, there is nothing but logic, reason, and evidence that gives you enough validation for that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, from my perspective, from anybody watching,
the coon within.
Edit this. I know that I can vouch for you whatever happens after the show, that no, Daniel's a solid dude.
Wait, what? Whatever happens after the show, I'ma vouch for you, bruh. You have no credibility among black folks anymore. What the hell is your vouching for him gonna do? If anything, it's gonna prove you're more anti-black, you fool. What is this man talking about? I'm gonna speak for you. And that's gonna hold some weight. Even though I've been anti-black and a self-hating saboteur so far for 4 days, I'm gonna now all of a sudden act like the minute I say something, black folks gonna... You're not X, bro. You're not even Ricky Williams. Ooh. You couldn't even hold Herman's reindeer costume. Let's leave the jockstrap to the side. You look about goofy as hell in these streets. Let's wrap this video up.
I know he wasn't doing it from like I'm trying to get the black people out of the house. Like, that's not where he was coming from at all. And a brother came to him and told him that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you gave it the information.
Exactly. Like, I gave you the information.
And my love for Terrance, dude, like, you know, I don't expect everything to be shown, but like, he's the homie, dude. I love just like chilling. And he made me laugh from the moment we fucking walked in his house, like at the meeting. He was going off, dude. I was like dying. But
bruh, this guy legitimately created the narrative that he'll somehow protect Daniel from Black America. They won't hurt you. I'll protect you. You're right. We're going to be stumping you out first, Monty. So you see, what you did was more unforgivable. See, this is what I said about Arissa. When we see you doing it, it hurts harder than if Julie does it. Same thing applies to this black man and this white man. If I see you off code, I didn't expect that shit. So you more out of pocket. If I see Daniel, the Elvis impersonator, do some anti-black shit, I expected that. He impersonates Elvis of all people, dog. Cultural appropriation is what he imitates on the daily. So of course, he would be anti-black. But Monty, you? The guy that I saw in all these videos doing all these dances with his frat boys and shit, you the guy with self-hate? You better stop them Denzel Washington impersonations right now, dog. Your black card is being snatched like infinity stones out here in these streets. You look crazy as hell. You look crazy as cat shit. Meow. Huh? You look crazy as cat shit. I've seen enough. This is disgusting. You out here trying to work in a men's alliance that Terrance ain't even included in, by the way, which shows me how anti-black Monty is. Oh yeah, I want to be in the men's alliance that has no black guy in it but myself. I want to be in Mamba that has no black person in it but myself. And I want to be anti-black towards the only black woman in the house. But I have a feeling black people will still respect me. See, with Sir Anthony Douglas, he had a different situation ahead of him. And I held him accountable for technically letting Queen Caitlyn go when he did. But remember, she was also mistreated by that house during BB Can 7, which is now Patreon exclusive. But I just want to create that dichotomy here. Because what I see, and I'm expecting, is there's going to be a lot of white folks trying to say, Monty's playing well. Why are you all mad at him? They're going to troll. They're going to gaslight. He's just like Anthony Douglas. If he makes it to the end with the men's alliance and he never touches the block, how can you be mad at him but not Anthony? Blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, Anthony played with the cards he was dealt. Anthony didn't have a black woman around his age group to play with. Huh? Anthony did not have the same amount of pivoting prowess Monty had on day one. Huh? So Anthony did what he had to do. And even then, BB Can showed us how they get down towards the end of that season. So no matter how you shake it, coach, for someone claiming to be a black male super fan of this game to come into this game trying so hard to prove it's not a cookout too, guys. I promise. I'm willing to coon it up as far as y'all need me to do. I'm willing to set up a lynching booth if it means I'm no longer considered pro-black. Okay? Huh? The man bucking his eyes, sweating. Like, I thought I was watching an episode of Roots in this motherfucker. I'm just saying what it is. This guy makes me uncomfortable, and he's getting cooked.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
He's getting cooked. Put a fork in this fool. Thanks, Monty. After us getting the first ever black male winner in U.S. history, you managed to make this show unwatchable for black men. Wow. How does someone squander that bag that hard? All you had to do was be cookie cutter. We knew you couldn't win this season anyway. But you're willing to coon it up just to be clowned as a goofy Negro as you get turned on. Do you really think that Mamba Alliance, do you really think you're not on the bottom of that, Monty? Serious question. Do you really think that Men's Alliance, do you really think you and all them white men, you think you're not on the bottom of that, Monty? So you think you're not on the bottom of any of these deals you're cutting with people who clearly have animosity towards someone black just because you're Puerto Rican? I got some oceanside property in Wyoming for sale, dog. Hey, you seem to like giving money away. You really dig me? Go ahead and donate to RBR, coach. Let's use it towards empowering black people in ways you claim your Fred is. Let's keep it real. The way you play in this game, you are an embarrassment. A complete embarrassment. And see, I'm starting to see the Delaware in you now. Remember at the beginning of the season, I said, black folks in Delaware, you need to move from there, bruh. Go somewhere else. Delaware? Now I see the Delaware in you. Because you're not very aware of shit. I mean, dog, I'm going in now. You're in trouble, coach. He's on the ropes, coach. Huh? I'm finna Rolly Romero Tank Davis your ass in a second. You better be careful. I already got the Killua hat on deck. To my Hunter x Hunter fans, you know what it is. Come on, dog. As an Afro-Latino male. Bro, what? Dog, if Josh the buffoon, if he would have said that, I get it. But not Monty. Monte Cristo? Monte's Inferno? This man's so scared of the Inferno, he trying to summon a Blastoise to the field to use Hydro Pump. Boy, if you don't get your weak ass up out of here. Like, seriously, dog. Come on, bruh. Man, if you don't fight that fire off like a G and go about your day, I'm sweating. It's so hot in here. I got the right temperature to mentor you to the storm. Bro, if you don't get your Sean Paul looking ass up, bro, I'm being honest with y'all, dog. This dude looks crazy out here in these streets. He looks crazy. He deserves to get roasted, dog. He looks crazy, dog. You 6'4", 240, and for what? Bro, if I was that size, dog, in the Big Brother house, listen, dog. Hey, F all that. You know, Taylor told me something about you, Paloma. I wouldn't be on that shit. You know what I'd be on? I'd be in that HOH room with Nicole, Daniel, Taylor, Joseph, and I'd be like, yo, us five, let's get it cracking. Let's get it cracking. That's what I'd be doing, because those are the five. I'd bring in Terrance, too. Us six. Let's get it. But see, that's a little scary for them non-black folks, because they think, oh, half of us are black. Oh. Okay, you got to leave Terrance out of that one. All right, fine. Then what will make Daniel happy? You got to pick someone non-black. You can't pick Kyle, because then he thinks Monty's in control of that, too. All right, pick Joe Picciarelli or something. How about us six? You know, he seems to love Joe. He seems to have something in secret with Joe Picciarelli. I told y'all Joe Picciarelli and Brittany and Kyle got this shit locked in. Listen, man, that Worst to First gonna age so well. I know when y'all first heard that, y'all was like, oh no. Now that shit looking like, damn, he was right, dog. Because now Brittany, her stink eyes from the new guy don't look too crazy no more. Like, now you can see what she's seeing in you. You know what I mean? I don't know if she changed the contacts up. I don't know if it's the lighting. I don't know what it is. But And I think by comparison, Paloma and Alyssa being so repulsive makes it a lot easier to appreciate Brittany. But with that said, let's stop with these narratives that Michael and Brittany are like Taylor's and Taylor's fan club. Listen, they don't care which direction this game goes down as long as they both can benefit from it. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if Brittany and Michael grow to prefer what happening to Taylor, because that's one less person Nicole could work with over them too, right? So it sets up a scenario like that. Now, Brittany seems to not have the best relationship in the world with Indy. She throws her under the bus often to Daniel and Nicole. Also, she gave a lot of her first impressions of a lot of players to them to gain trust. But I find it very suspicious, though. Brittany can wait until after Michael wins veto, and now all of a sudden, she's safe. She won't be a replacement nom. Now, to be fair, because of the twist, he can't throw her up anyway. But I'm just saying, it's like Daniel never stopped speaking bad about her as soon as Michael wins veto, just because Michael is close to her. So you can tell Taylor not being viewed as close to anyone makes Daniel feel as if this is okay. But at the end of the day, Indy is being told to you that she isn't close to anyone, but something about you doesn't make you want to pull that trigger. I can't help but connect the dot that because Indy doesn't look like Eddie Gordo from Tekken, but she happens to be from Brazil, you give her a week off. But let that woman look like Cassie from Tekken. Let her look like her. She got to go. And see, that's the biggest problem here. Because Ameerah gets to go her hardest in the veto comp. She gets to be a rat. Her threat level don't increase. Indy gets to be socially a pariah just as much as Taylor is, if not worse, because there's a language barrier and she talks reckless to people, not caring what they feel. Everyone chalks it up as, oh, she's Brazilian, she's Portuguese, let it go. Jasmine, she's a rat just the same as everyone else, doesn't know what she's doing. I mean, no matter how you shake it, coach, I'm seeing double standards left and right. I'm seeing people giving passes just because they aren't black. And that's why I want to answer y'all questions and get some feedback from the community. Because I feel like y'all see what I see. This stuff, listen, if we decide as a group to boycott, I'm with you. If we decide as a group not to, I'm with you. Understand, all right? It ain't nothing to me. But one thing I'm not going to do is contribute to more division, if you will, of the culture. If I see sisters in large numbers boycotting, I'm not going to be the black creator that keeps making content. I'm going to support y'all in that because when the time comes and I need y'all support, even when y'all don't fully agree with me, I'm going to expect that. So I feel like the only way for this to truly work is for us to start taking leaps of faith with each other. I'm listening to what sisters are saying. I believe what they are saying, and that's making me want to jump on code with them. I just ask when the time calls for it, they repay that favor, and we can get real change done. And that's how I feel. Oh, damn, the likes are deep in here. Oh, man. Y'all loving this rant. Jeez. Jeez, blood. Jeez. It's lit in these streets. Shout outs to Neo B. Good to see you. Oh, yeah, I had all the sound effects tonight. Let's keep it a bean. Cracked Reality says, Monty said Paloma is a cutie after he admitted she was all dramatic on feeds. He wants that Latina snow bunny bad. He was mad at production for asking him questions about Taylor pushing showmans. Oh, yeah, he admitted being mad about that. And he's very aware of the fact that people assume he'll be with a black woman just because she is black. He feels like he is being forced down a pigeonhole of having to show love to this sister even though he's not the most attracted to her. So these non-black women were right. But getting rid of Taylor, Monty honestly believes his game is freed up. Self-hate to the highest of levels, man. I can't support no man like that. Even if you feel that way, shut up and don't say it. There were times when I said that to X last season, so I'm being consistent, but X still played a fantastic game on top of all that. See, for all the lowlights X could have had, that man had a lot of highlights that we was like, that's why we let the lowlights go. This guy Monty don't got no highlights. He got nothing, bruh. This guy's entire Big Brother career on Brian Scalabrine settings. Let's keep it a bean. At this rate, you finna be a commentator for the Big Three. You look crazy as hell in these streets. I'm finna cook you. Come on, dog. What is he doing? But let's get into answering some questions. Hold on. I don't want to go too crazy now. I still need to answer. Hey, man, listen. You know what? You right about that, Rod. You right about that. I've been too nice on this fool, bruh. I've been too nice. Where is it? Where's the drop? Where's the drop? Yeah.
I gotta check the coons.
Where's the drop?
I gotta do a coon analysis.
We got to do a coon screening. Huh? We got to do the analysis, bruh. And I'm the apex analyst, so it's only right we do one. All right? For real, for real. Thank you for reminding me I had that drop. Boy, Monty, you deserve that. You deserve 20 of them things after what you just did. You look crazy as hell in these streets. Crazy. Denise says, you already know how the alumni are going to be. They're going to be buddies with this cast when the show. Oh, absolutely. Listen, they allow Kat Dunn to be some member of the media as if her season isn't a huge mark on the show. They act like, oh, and then the other woman, Jessica. Like, no one from any season that was racist should have any clout. I don't care if you were the victim or not. I hate to say it that way, but we should be influenced and incentivized to forget about your season by not seeing more of you who reminds us of your season. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. That's how I feel. Everyone complains about David Alexander being on all these shows, but then they act like all these other failed players from the same racist season deserves love just because they aren't a black man. I'm telling you, it's toxic. We need to keep the same energy with a lot of these people. Please smash that like button. I'm going scorched earth mode. I'm with the shits. Precious says Monty is the little definition of token black guy. He doesn't see it. He doesn't see it. And you gotta remember, this guy is an engineer. He's a frat boy. Listen, he's probably been in more white circles in his adulthood than black circles outside of when he's online or when he shows up to a probate or when he shows up to a homecoming at his school. You feel what I'm saying? So these things need to play a role in your mind too. No black man that's on any code lives in Delaware by choice. I'm keeping it funky, man. Y'all think I'm joking, bruh? This man out there with Joe Biden in them. I'm just saying, dog. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm going in tonight. And shout outs to the super chat. I'm sorry for missing you. I appreciate you, coach. You know what I'm saying? It would be funny if it wasn't so sad, Paige. Honestly, I got to crack jokes to cover up some of the pain, y'all. Listen, man. You know, I can't just be shouting for 2 hours. You feel it, dig me? Mi amo Monte. Jacob, you going crazy. Mi amo Monte. But see, that's my point, though. I don't want to see no more Denzel Washington impersonations. Skip all that minstrel comedy. Start impersonating Latinos, and let's see how much Latinos laugh. See, you think the black culture's a joke, so you imitate our greats. Why don't you imitate some of them Latino greats? Let's see how much people laugh at your black ass. They not gonna laugh a second, because you know you're a clown. That's why you only try to clown black men. I don't ever see this guy imitate Emiliano Estevez. I'm just trying to think of names. You know what I'm saying? You never see him imitate these guys. Huh? Never. And I love the Mighty Ducks. But you never see it, okay? That just goes to show you his psyche. You know? It's one thing if you can imitate people from all walks of life, but if all I hear you imitating is Arnold Schwarzenegger, I cannot imitate Arnold Schwarzenegger. Everybody get down. Maria, get down. Like, that don't take nothing. But this guy acts like, I'm so special. Look at my impersonation skills. Boy, if you don't get your goof ass up out of here, bruh. I'm being honest in these streets, man. Like, this dude really think he funny, though. What's homeboy name? This dude think he, dang, I can't, this dude think he Jay Farrow or something. You know what I'm saying, bro? You're not Jay Farrow, dog. You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. Fuji says, does Monty even speak Spanish? He probably does. I mean, if you have that much pride in your roots, you should. With a Puerto Rican mother, he probably does. I have a lot of Latin friends. I grew up with a lot of Mexican friends, and they would tell me if your mother is Mexican, the odds of you knowing 2 languages goes exponentially increases. If your father is Mexican, you may not learn that language because you're around your mother more when you're growing up. I'm just saying, it's the Delaware in them, y'all. Come on, man. It's the Delaware to make him not aware. That's just what it is. Come on, man. Oh, thank you, Red. I appreciate you, Coach. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all know on the fly, I got these jokes ready to fly. You feel it, dig me? Oh, yes, Joey. And see, that's another side of this. Monte is going to be a pre-jury boot after this. I don't see this man surviving 3 more weeks after what he just allowed to happen. Also, did you pay close attention to how some of these non-black folks reacted when they heard he confronted Paloma over what Taylor told him? First thing came out of their mouth is, I thought he would just believe what Taylor said. Once again implying they expect you to be on code and they're shocked by you not being on code. What have I always said to my audience? When non-black people see that you're a coon to your own people, they're less likely to trust you with information themselves. If you ain't got no code with people who look like you, why should they trust you? Monty don't get that, and that's why they cast him as a mixed dude. It's all connected, y'all. It's all connected. Monterey Cheese. Oh, that's a good nickname. Y'all getting them right now. The chat room is undefeated in these streets. They dog. Hey, it's only right we stump him out back for trying to stump the sister out, huh? It's only right, huh? Stump that man out. Looking crazy. Stump him back to Delaware. You feel it, Demi? I feel like I'm over here watching oh, dang, I was finna name a video game. I feel like I'm over here watching my mind is so on I feel like I'm watching My Hero Academia. Because I tell you one thing, Monte, you finna get Delaware smashed, boy. You finna get sent to the Shadow Realm, and black folks not gonna care because we not gonna be watching when it happens. You feel it, Demi? Delaware smash? Your ass is finna get sent to the Shadow Realm. I'm talking Super Smash Brothers game, huh? I'm talking Falcon Punch. It's over for you, dog. You let the one woman go who, at the worst, was a shield to go before you if a non-black woman was HOH. You let her go. Nicole, you're going to let Taylor go too. That puts you and Monty by far in the worst position because you are deemed as bigger threats than Terrance. Terrance might make jury because he's seen as weak. You two, though, you're in trouble. And Daniel going after Michael, swinging and missing, it just makes Michael want to go after Daniel, which is bad for Nicole. Taylor needed to be around to at least make Michael want to work for the non-black women and go after Taylor before Daniel, something like that. Y'all ain't putting no ducks in a row so y'all have any shields. Y'all are going to be naked and afraid when it's time for that other side to raid. I'm telling y'all the truth, man. And these folks are too much, either they're too much of recruits to understand this philosophy or they're just too scared, man. And scared money don't make none, dog. You know, Daniel spent so much time trying not to be Frenchie. He's Frenchie. You didn't have to throw up Brother Terrance, just like Frenchie didn't have to throw up Kylan. You decided to do that because you wanted to see if there was a cookout. You already told on yourself, bro. Denise says, she asked the question, wasn't Monty the one that kept referring to Taylor as a strong black woman? Absolutely. And see, what you got to realize is, I have problems with people who are part-time black. What I mean by that is, when it's convenient, you Afro-Latino. When it's convenient, you're Puerto Rican. But I'm pretty sure if you was in a HBCU setting, you would never talk about the Puerto Rican version of yourself. Because niggas wouldn't try to hear that. My apology. People wouldn't be trying to hear that. So, it's grifting 1,000%. It's his way of showing the people around him, look, guys, I'm not 100% black. I'm not militant. I'm not a Black Panther now. I'm more of a Miles Morales. Let's talk about it right now. That's what he's trying to tell you folks. I'm Miles Morales, guys. I'm not T'Challa. What kind of goofball stuff is that? I'm light-skinned. I still ain't gonna go out of my way to tell no white folk I got a white parent just to make them feel comfortable. That's craziness. And if I got to say that to them for them to be more comfortable around me, they're the problem, not Taylor. But let Monty tell the story. Well, because Taylor refuses to lie about having a non-black parent, she deserves her fate. What? Man, the Shadow Realm awaits. You sound crazy as hell. I can't relate. Come on, man. This is insane, y'all. It's insane. I don't know how she's a threat either, Coach. And honestly, y'all said it. Nicole is a cop. So Even though she spoke highly to Taylor at one point, I mean, the way she just flipped a switch just to support Paloma when no one even knows the truth in this. They're all just running with a lie. And that's the problem I have with Monty. If Monty would have been the guy who ran to Paloma, but then when Jasmine told him a lie, ran it to Taylor, then I'd be okay. Because that's Monty giving every woman the same level of respect. But him jumping to a conclusion that Taylor lied initially made him not give her the respect of being forthcoming with information that she should know of about Jessica. All that does is allow Jessica to keep lying to Monty because he's going to believe she told the truth about Taylor first. Which just sets up Monty to get ratted out by Jessica to the Women's Alliance, by the way. See, it's so easily predictable. So easily predictable. But this is why we celebrated Xavier's win, y'all. We knew production had it out for us. We knew there was a score to settle. We knew we might not get another black man winning the game the way he did with his family on the screen watching him. And he did it for his brother who passed away. I mean, everything about the story X came with, it deserved a lot more respect put on it. And that's really the true disaster in all of this. People only appreciate a brother when another brother is even worse than that brother. Then, oh, well, it wasn't that bad. You should have been appreciating that brother because he wasn't bad at all before. But we got to take small W's as we take big losses. It sucks. You know what I'm saying? It really does. Michael and Brittany said long as they get to slide to the left, they straight. Exactly. They don't care which direction it goes in. I think personally for Brittany's game, it's better for Indy to go because then she doesn't have to be loyal to the other 4 members of that group. Gives her a little bit more wiggling room. But for her game as well, early on, you kind of don't want a big alliance to be split up yet. You kind of want the numbers to dwindle. That way, whatever you decide to do with your pivoting can completely alter the late game. So I can see both sides of it. Daniel already using Monty as a scapegoat on the feeds. Oh, and see, that's the thing Monty's not understanding. Thank you for saying that, BB Banks. See, Monty went out of his way to tell Daniel, don't tell Taylor beforehand, before you backdoor. She hasn't earned the respect of knowing that before. I said, what? You're setting the tone for no one to respect you, bruh. These folks hate black men way more than they'll ever hate a black woman, dog. I need to remind y'all of that. If they got this much anger towards her, it's stronger towards you because there's 5 white men around you. Oh, my God. If Taylor is considered strong without having to prove it in comps, and Monty, you proved you're a mental threat with your build, you're viewed as probably 3 times the threat she is. They're just smart enough not to say it to your face. And when they do say it, it's not going to be to your face either. You're going to really get embarrassed out here. And you're not going to have any of the luxury of any tears to cry about it. You're not going to be able to show any emotion. Because right now you're acting like the game's the game. I'm doing this for the betterment of the house. This is best for everyone else, everyone's game, not just mine, blah, 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 blah. All right, bro, we'll see if it's truly better for your game. We all have seen this show enough times to know it's not best for your game. But right now, you want to prove to these non-black women that you're not into black poutang. So instead, you asking Trish Stratus for her poutang pie. We see what it is, bro, but you're not Dwayne Johnson. You're not that level. You think you are. You're not that level, bro. They're not gonna have you as a superhero in every movie with a white wife. Your black ass, you'll be lucky if you get a Puerto Rican wife. Huh? They see you as black. Honestly, man, this season is dead to a lot of people, Nick HD, okay? I look at this as therapy for the culture. On a Sunday, it's only right that I preach. You feel it digging me, coach? Come on, dog. C-Dub, come on, man. We can't lie about this type of stuff. Monty look like the white mamba out here in these streets. He looking like the Latin mamba. He look crazy. Shout outs to Braylon Critton and Javaris' brother. I got to keep the joke running. Do you think the backstage twist will have the current nominees on Thursday face the 2 people that didn't get saved by America? That's really the only saving grace in all this, right? I got to see what happens on eviction night. I got to see it. I got to see how this twist impacts what's going to happen. Are you just going to save one person, then the other two are put up for eviction, and then the house gets to decide over 4 people? If that's the case, Taylor still goes home. The only way for this to be fair, in my opinion, is to make them all compete. But I know production is way too anti-black to allow it to come down to competing, because that's the one thing these non-black women didn't want to do with Taylor in the first place. Compete! They made her into a house target because they didn't want to compete for men's attention. Now men have jumped on the saddle of bashing Taylor when she's the only woman besides Nicole who actually would probably go besides any man in the game. And this is why I'm telling y'all, if Taylor played the exact same way but was a white woman, Paloma and Alyssa would forgive her for feeling the way she does. In fact, I'd argue she'd get the Indy edit if she was a white woman with the same personality. But because she's a black woman, these non-black women look at her as, you're black. You shouldn't have this much confidence. That's why it's so toxic, and that's why we don't like the edit, and that's why boycotting is the optimal move. Thank you, Al. I appreciate you, Coach. Good to see you come through. Trouble Curl says, and yet we have Tommy and Annalise on the next challenge season. Well, see, that's the thing. People who are part of horrible seasons always get rewarded, y'all. See, Tommy get rewarded because he's moist. Annalise gets rewarded because she's attractive. That's all that's about. And she's athletic, so. But shout outs to Mago. So is this like a yearly tradition of BB giving us clips of black men calling black women a bitch? Well, I think it's a weekly tradition of production looking for black players that they know won't get along very well. That way they can be at odds. Listen, they do this all the time, right? The one thing that was a saving grace about Celebrity Big Brother US Season 3 was the fact that Lamar Odom and Todd Bridges were like this all the time. They joked about each other, cracked on each other, but they always had each other's back because they knew Todrick always had Misha's back. It kind of kept them in good with the other duo. That's why they made it as far as they did. Now, me personally, I feel like if Cynthia Bailey would have been a better representative for sisters, we get a black winner 100% because somebody knocks off Todrick or Misha way before the end, and someone black probably wins. But with that said, you got to understand, these decisions are made on purpose. It's either the black woman doesn't deserve to win, or it's that the black men become consumed with power and they become the villains compared to the heroes that they started off the game as. It's like the Jay-Z line, right? Production does this all the time. I have yet to see production pick someone white who's ostracized that people just get rid of. Even week 1 in the last Canadian season, we saw Melina go home first. I bet if Herman could do it different a second time, he guarantees Marty goes home first. Someone like that. But see, that's the thing. Someone like Herman is playing under the pressure of, they're going to assume we're working with blacks. Let me include white people in a black alliance. That should keep people calm. But in doing that, all he did was allow Kyle to know how the inner workings of Herman's game work so he could try to sabotage him and Moose, which he did, which then handed the rest of the game to Josh to sabotage the other black folks. So no matter how you shake it, Coach, it's a systemic issue. And that systemic issue is impossible for this production team to dodge the accusations of, because they consistently don't repeat things that work, and they consistently bring back things that don't work. So that shows us the things that they want back that don't work clearly are the things they've documented through market research that benefits non-black players. The things that they don't bring back are the things that benefited black players. It's really that simple. And when you make the first week of the season come down to an America's vote based on who gets saved, who gets put in harm's way, it makes me kind of wish Joe Picciarelli would have just picked Taylor to be in the backstage pass. At least then she wouldn't have been backdoored. At least she could have had a chance of winning a vote. Right now, she's going to get legit backdoored, no chance at veto, and for nothing. And here's another part that pisses me off. Indy performed in that veto too. Apparently, she performed pretty well considering. And she ticks a lot of people off for how long she takes with her makeup. For Daniel to not go, this girl Indy got to go. It has to be production interference. There's no other outcome that makes sense. Because the way he talked about, Daniel talked about Indy, and the way he's just hit a complete 180 about her completely, all of that is by design, man. He's a total coward. You feel it, dig me? Salsa dancing in his intro package. I'm saying, dog, like real talk, this dude really thinks he's Spanish, bro. Like, he looks crazy. Looks crazy. I feel bad for Taylor too, y'all. I'm saying, man. And see, I don't think someone like unaware Delaware Monty, I don't think anyone like him understands. He's going to have to deal with this every time him and his frat go to a HBCU. He going to have to deal with this. Every time he goes in any black setting, he's going to have to deal with people questioning how black he really is. He never had that issue his entire life. Now he does. And for what? Just so he can outlast a black woman and just be an easy target next week? Like, no matter how you shake it, Terrance is never going home over you, Monty. And the minute Terrance was thrown up, Monty's antenna should have gone up. Maybe they did go up, and he decided, I can use Terrance in this game easier than Taylor, so I'll just throw her under the bus to save Terrance. I don't know. But I have a feeling the confessionals later on in this week are going to be very problematic because, once again, Monty is running with information that isn't true, but he's talking as if he knows for a fact it's true. Things like that happen when production make you feel like you're on the right track. So production is also perpetuating the burial of Taylor. That's what you got to look at it as. I'm not black, I'm OJ. Oh, y'all wild, boy. Montenegro. Ah! Momo came through with the clutch nickname, Montenegro. Monte no negro. Monte no negro. Come on, bro. Y'all wild out here. Hikari Sora asked the question, so did no one try to set things straight by talking with Taylor? No. All they do in front of her face is act like everything is hunky-dory, and then no one kicks it with her around the entire house. That's why she eventually broke down in the bathroom. You see as the bottom picture in the middle of the thumbnail of this video, she eventually broke down because she's not stupid. She knows what's going on. But she also knows she can't really react or else she'll be giving them the out that they really want to justify what they're doing to her anyway. Like, black people are put in a position where we either allow you to continuously gaslight us with no reaction, which makes us look soft, which makes us look cowardly, which makes us look like we weren't built for the game, or we match your energy, and then all the white women can cry about it, use their white girl crying technique to their advantage, play the victim more, and now all the men are even more mad at Taylor because you made our games harder because now we have to caress the feelings of these other women. That's what it is. Taylor knows that. That's why, in my opinion, she ain't going off. But tomorrow, once that backdoor happens, she's going to want some answers. And the way these people are trying to create plans for, oh, well, you know she's going to be aggressive. You know she's going to be explosive. I hope she doesn't take what we're doing personally. You know, all this fucking goofy shit. And what you got to realize is it's going to fall on Daniel's lap. And Daniel's going to be forced to stand strong and be like, oh, the house said this is what they wanted. Taylor's going to apply pressure. What do you mean by the house? Daniel's going to have to stay strong and not throw no one under the bus. But for Daniel, he has no incentive to not throw Monty under the bus now. Why wouldn't I not throw Monty under the bus? If I do that, then all her anger is fixated on Monty, who I don't really trust anyway, none of the non-black women. It causes a black-on-black fight that all these white folks can tune into with their popcorn. This is why we need a boycott, man. I'm worried the rest of this week is going to be worse. Because everyone in that house knows Monty made it harder for Taylor to survive. So all of them have incentive to just blame it on Monty. And that'll be his Negro wake-up call. But imagine doing all of this cooning just to be pretty much the likely scapegoat once shit hits the fan. What was the point? Why couldn't he just stay out of it? He couldn't stay out of it because he didn't want people to think he was close to her. So I'm not going to just keep playing the game I'm playing and let people think what they want to think. I'm going to go the complete opposite direction of bashing her incessantly so people know there's no way I could be working with her. But you doing this does probably tell these non-black folks you're close to Terrence because of how hard you're working to keep Terrence. So no matter what, bruh, the black person that stays, you're going to be lumped in a duo with. All the alliances you're in, you're on the bottom of. And you just lost someone black. Your game took a net negative of times negative 300. But you think because you're Puerto Rican, you're up. What a dumb fuck. These are the settings we got, y'all. These are the settings we got. I'm just telling y'all what it is, man. Yes, please smash that like button, man. I'm giving y'all classics this season. Listen, I'm coming through with that yapper, with that thing on me. You feel it, dig me? As Corey Holcomb would say, with that goddamn it. Well, I've only seen a few pictures of Annalise. I thought she was attractive. What, she isn't? What are we saying? Out of every woman on that cast, can we all agree she's the most attractive? Listen, that cast ain't have many attractive women on it. I'm going to be honest with you. So, it ain't like I'm saying much, but honestly, I think that's why she was chosen, though, for the challenge. I just think they think she clicks a box. Shout outs to the other super chat from DL. I appreciate you, Coach. You have your Infinity Stones. And whoever gave me a super chat earlier, I will get back to you if I have yet to give you your Infinity Stone post-stream. I'm not going to feel bad either when he gets shitted on, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Paloma is interested in Monte to showman's him. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Paloma is more likely to go for Joe Picciarelli as Alyssa goes for Kyle. Mark my words. Because you got to remember, Indy is called dibs on Monty. For that girls' alliance to work, no one can step on Indy's toes of who she's chose. And that's what I'm telling you. Monty, he think he got all this game, but he's really being forced down a linear path of having to smash some over-the-hill chick from Brazil. I'm just being honest, dog. I'm just being honest. She said, I see the way he looks at me. He really wishes he could do things with me. But Taylor being here, she's the roadblock in all of it. Listen, if you need a black woman to leave the premises before you can get a black man to want to get close to you, then maybe you just ain't got no game, coach. See, your game work in Brazil, but men travel that way for that game to work, you know. In America, you a dime a dozen in these streets. Jamhold asks question, did you see Ameerah rat out Taylor to Kyle and Michael? Yeah, I remember that. Telling them Taylor said she thought Daniel may not put up two black people, and Ameerah started laughing. Yeah, we got to understand. See, Ameerah, like a lot of these half-breeds, they have to prove that the half of them that looks black, they don't co-sign. They don't embrace. You know, that is how you survive in this new era, Big Brother. You have to show everyone you went to a white school. You have to show everyone you love mayonnaise. You have to show everyone that trying to think of something else. You have to show everyone that you put Miracle Whip on your turkey sandwich. You know what I'm saying? You got to show everyone what you're willing to do. And if you're not willing to pander to them the way they've decided you must, you've got to go. But yeah, I did see Ameerah do that. And if I'm not mistaken, Kyle also said that there was something Taylor did that ticked him off or something, where she made him feel stupid or something. These guys are just nitpicking, man. They're doing what they got to do to appease the non-black women that they're aligned to. So they're just coming up with stuff to throw more coal on the fire. It's really that simple. You know, it's not ingenious gameplay. For someone like Kyle, though, I don't blame him. He should want as many black people going as possible because everyone non-black worships the ground he walks on. So, listen, I'm not going to judge Kyle the way I'll judge a Monty. For real. I'm not going to do it. The backstage pass twist is confusing. I got the Americans votes for safety, but what is the safety for? I think it's just for 1 week, and then they'll compete over who the next backstage boss is next week. But see, that's the thing. Does that mean every Thursday night now we get a backstage boss comp and an HOH comp? Or will the backstage boss comp become the new Sunday comp? Kind of like a have-not comp. I think that's a more likely route because they don't have enough time. Now, I don't think they have enough time to put all that stuff in one episode every Thursday. I don't think so. You feel it, dig me? Chima did give great TV, though. I'll give her that. You know. Yes, another black person evicted first, man. And see, this is the thing. White folks don't understand, bro. They really don't understand. They go through 20 days. We go through 20 years. They can't even handle the 20 days they go through. They cry and cry to CBS, the execs, all the sponsors. So they do everything they can to pander to them and give them another season where someone white wins so they can feel good. But I just don't get how in a season we'll never see again was called boring, but a season that feels just like 21 and 15 is not labeled boring. How can you label a season that was a flash in the pan, lightning in a bottle? How can you label that boring? And then show up and give Paloma and Alyssa crowns on your website. It does not make sense, but this is why black folks need to walk away. And these were my thoughts on this episode and this week, ladies and gentlemen. So please, we need to all be united as a group with black women. We need to all walk away at the same time to let people know we've had enough. And yes, we're going to have certain people trying to gaslight us, rope us back in with all this random stuff. You know how it is. But we need to stay strong. Even when Monty gets his just desserts, we don't need to be tweeting using their hashtags. Stop using their hashtags. We know what you're talking about when you talk about it. Just tweet. And when we see something we like, we'll like and retweet. We need to black out their hashtags. All right? Because they use those numbers to justify what they do. See? Look at our algorithm. So many people are mentioning us online. Don't even mention them. Don't use their hashtags. Refrain from supporting their sponsors that occur during the show. We need to legit mobilize now. It's getting real. And see, listen, we thought stuff was sweet. But see, once you get that lifestyle of eating caviar, you ain't trying to come back down to eating tilapia. You feel what I'm saying? And I think this production team has vastly underestimated our ability now to understand our power because we saw how united we could be the first half of BB23. Then we saw how divided we could be during the second half. Well, all I'm asking for is that we be just as united as we were the first half of BB23 from this point further, and let's guarantee this season is a complete failure from a ratings department. Let's put BB25 into question because of how anti-black they decided to put this season in. Let's make them pay in their wallets for what they decided to do to us and our mental health. It's only right, and honestly, they can't blame anyone for this but themselves, because they're the ones who squandered the Mon the most. I'm Dave Smith for Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. And this was the anti-black Armageddon. Are you ready to go to battle? Are you ready to leave this season behind once and for all? If so, smash that like button, comment underneath this video, and say the boycott starts now. And I'll see y'all next time. Deuces. Can't believe this motherfucker Monty, boy. Monty no Negro. You